ranks 130th out of 193 countries in the Human Development Index. Since 2022, India's rank has gone up by 3. There are areas where India has shown clear improvement, for instance, in life expectancy, education, and in income as well. However, there are still some areas of concern like gender and income inequality. I have with me the UNDP India head, Dr. Angela Lusigi, to talk more about this. Many thanks, Dr. Lusigi, for speaking with NDTV. My first question is about the fact that India has made some improvement, but there are still areas of concern and a long way to go. How would you categorize India's performance? What are the areas which have been found satisfactory? Can you elaborate a little bit more on those?
Thank you for having me. And you're absolutely right. India is one of the countries that is progressing steadily and has been progressing steadily since 1990. And this latest report shows that, yes, we have gone up a few places and there has been a slight improvement in human development. But really, the basis for this improvement is across the board. As you will know, in 1990, we started from a human development index level of 0.446. And to be able to have achieved 0.685 now, it shows tremendous progress. And that's in terms of the improvements in health. We've had improvements from life expectancy of only 59 to 72 today. We have seen improvements when it comes to the education outcomes as well. A child born in India today is likely to spend 12, 13 years in school. And the people who are over 25 have gone through at least 7 years of education. But also when it comes to income, we've seen a tremendous increase in GNI per capita. So starting from about 2,000 in 1990, we are now up to 9,000. So there has been steady progress in all the indicators. But as you say, globally, what the report is saying is that although there has been progress over time, this report indicates that level of progress is decelerating. So this is the smallest increase in human development if you take out what happened during the COVID era. So definitely that is something to watch.
The global slowdown certainly is a matter of concern, and I will look back to that. But staying on with India, I want you to help us understand where the gaps currently remain.
Yes. So India, like other countries, is facing a challenge when it comes to inequality. And the report is saying that there's a big challenge when it comes to inequality, which is growing. In India's case, there has been some improvements. However, inequality remains high. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that when you look at the Human Development Score, it assumes that there's a uniform or equal achievement across the outcomes. But when you take into account the actual distribution of health, education, and income outcomes across the population, we find that there's a loss in inequality, that it drops down to 0.75. So definitely inequality is a challenge. And we're not just talking about inequality across the population, we're also talking about inequalities between males and females. For instance, females only achieve 87% of the outcomes of men. And a lot of this is down to, for instance, differences in education and income. So while men achieve a GNI per capita of approximately 13,000, women only achieve an income GNI per capita of 4,500. So that's a very big gap. And there are also differences when it comes to education. So the issues with inequality also have an impact on the actual Human Development Index score.
Income inequality between countries and within countries is a matter of concern, really. How is the UNDP making governments aware of this, and how is UNDP assisting various governments?
I think India is an example of a country that has shown some commitment, and really there are a lot of programs that are taking place right now to try and address this issue of inequality. if I can just give an example of the fact that, multidimensional poverty has been decreasing, which means that the impact of public investment in health and education is really paying off, using digital technology, for instance, to be able to democratize access to health is really an area where we see that there's a lot of progress. Where we do see also there are some programs which are trying to address issues around the gender disparities when it comes to women in the labor force. The numbers are beginning to trend up. But one of the programs I really want to focus on also now is what's happening. And if you look at the care economy, this is an instance where there's, government programs to try and see how we can introduce care centers, Angawadis, where women can have access to care and hopefully be able to get more women into the labor force. And this is an area UNDP is working very steadily with the government and with partners to try and see the models which will enable this to happen, so that we not only have women entering the workforce, but then there's also decent work in this area.
And now going back to your first answer with regards to the global deceleration, what do you think are the causes for this?
Absolutely. And this is why UNDP is raising the opportunities now that we're getting from AI and technology to be able to see how we can be able to address and accelerate human development. So I think this report is very clear that we now have an opportunity, when we look at the possibilities when it comes to AI, to shape the direction of how it is used to be able to advance human development. So for instance, making sure that we are creating an economy where AI is used to augment human capabilities. India has a very good example in the agriculture space where AI is being used to be able to harness and look at huge data sets and provide guidance to farmers and decision makers on how to improve agricultural practices. But then also very much looking at how can we use AI and how can we target AI at science and innovation so that we address the challenges and unblock some of the barriers to accelerating human progress. And then finally, looking at the area around capabilities. Because if we really want to make sure that AI is a tool that helps us to advance human progress, then we have to make sure that the entire population is able not only to use AI, but also to contribute to how it is being developed. And India is a very good example. It's one of the only middle-income countries that's in the AI Global Index, which shows that there is a very huge potential when it comes to skills, and also the opportunity from the digital public infrastructure. So very much looking at this as an opportunity to help us to accelerate human development.
Dr. Angela Lusigi, many thanks for speaking with NDTV.
Thank you so much for having me.